There's people that have never played a sport in their life. They're just actually non-athletic, but they're competitive with themselves. And I like to actually see individuals like that do well, because there's that notion where if you're just a meathead or a jock, you should be really good at something. Well, naturally, sure, they usually tend to work harder, but then there's also those other individuals that are just as competitive, but this might be their sport. I've been a business owner for the last 6 years. So I work with a variety of different clients, from telecommunications, so with AT&T, with Frontier. We work in tandem with retailers like Costco and Walmart, Sam's Club. So we diversify a little bit. So before I started my own company, I was actually working with Amazon. So I worked for 3.5 years there. Typical, went in entry level, worked into more of a supervisor role, kind of climbed my way into more management. But I just kind of realized, I kind of wanted to be in business for myself. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I liked helping people. And I'm a people person naturally, right? So I had no prior experience with marketing or sales or customer service. So what I did is just like most people, applied online. And again, coming from zero experience, I didn't really know what to make of the role itself. But I realized that if I give myself 110%, day in and day out, at least if it doesn't work out, I'm walking away knowing, hey, I tried, versus that what if. And here we are 6 years later. Sales naturally to me didn't really come easily. I would get often nervous. I didn't really understand the psychology behind the sales until I started to really be a student in our industry with sales and customer service and marketing. That is a special type of industry where you can be an introvert or an extrovert. It doesn't really matter. I've seen people that are either or do very well, and I've seen people that are either or not do so well. So I think it's really understanding where you're at the moment, and being able to find resources to help you develop and get better. I grew up in Los Angeles, more of a East Los Angeles area. So coming from both my parents typical graduated from high school and then went straight to the workplace. I didn't really have a formal education environment, but they did a really good job to make sure I was in private schools, and I played sports growing up, and they worked really hard to make sure that I was kind of protected. Some people use the word sheltered. Of course, it's that sheltering is more of a protection, right? Looking back at it now, it allowed me to then go into college. I went to UC Riverside. I played rugby for the college, and I was there and graduated with a political science and a sociology minor in school. In our industry, I think naturally having a competitive type of personality is something that separates others. However, sports or no sports, there's people that have played sports, and again, they don't really hone in and do what they need to do in our sales industry, right? There's people that have never played a sport in their life. They're just actually non-athletic, but they're competitive with themselves. And I like to actually see individuals like that do well, because there's that notion where if you're just a meathead or a jock, you should be really good at something. Well, naturally, sure, they usually tend to work harder, but then there's also those other individuals that are just as competitive, but this might be their sport, if that makes sense. There's a lot of notion for the sales industry of a negative salesy, like the used car salesman, the typical, they're not telling you everything off the cusp. So I think in the sales industry specifically, and it kind of correlates to some customer service, where there's a lot of like fog within the conversations, especially face to face. Obviously, there's digital and online presence. There's telecommunications, telemarketing, right? Telesales. I think with direct face to face, the advantage that gives is I can see you, you can see me. You're looking in my eyes, and at the end of the day, how we develop and work with and for our clients is based on trust. We're transparent with everything we do. So I think that having that tangible, like you're in front of me and I'm showing you specifics, black and white, I think that helps create more of a value that's a lot of times our clients can't provide themselves. So I think the notion of having a negative connotation towards sales, I think we do a really good job to kind of bridge that gap there. So I think with most business in general, longevity is something that every business strives for, right? As a small mom and pop shop, if you will, there's that, hey, if I want the next 5 years of my life to look different from the last 5 years of my life, what am I doing now to change the next 5 years of my life? Being able to adapt, whether it's your an environment, being able to adapt the way you run your business. I personally, from the beginning of this year, we're 10 months into the year, I'm running my business very different from what I did in the first quarter. If I'm not able to consistently adapt from something as simple as the way we run our phone calls or Zoom meetings or interviews, I'm not going to be able to have long-term success and growth because I'll be so stuck in my ways. So being a chameleon is insanely important for longevity anywhere, really. So I think my experience with COVID and being a business owner, of course, just like most, I'm sure, they had their highs and lows. During COVID, we had a lot of uncertainty, right? The nature of our industry is face-to-face. So having masks and not being, the whole world stopped, right? So I actually was able and fortunate enough to have some financial help, and I gave that to my guys and gals. So when COVID hit, I had 15 employees. When we came back from COVID, I had 13 employees. I didn't really take a huge loss in my head count, only because the way that I operate my business is, again, not being transparent, but I'd rather be there for my guys and gals, taking care of my individuals that are being developed by myself. I think goes a long way, where a lot of times, they say a happy employee is a productive employee, but it also shows like the very human element about what we do. If I want to grow and develop, I need them to grow and develop. So when COVID hit, it was very much so we're all together, and I'm no longer your employer at this point. We're just trying to figure everything out and get by as a whole society. So I think it leveled the playing ground, right? So it kind of developed where people understood, hey, if I want to do this long term, or maybe I don't want to go this path, now I want to go that path. I implore people to find that true passion they had during that time. Of course, it was a whole pandemic, but I can sit there and think, oh man, poor me, or these negatives happened. I had to change my mentality to, okay, what can I do to grow and be in a better situation? How can I take a negative and turn it into a positive? So the end result, I guess you can say, was the success for all the hard work that was put into it. I think with the specific sales and marketing aspect of our industry, there's a book by Grant Cardone. It's called Sell or Be Sold. It's a great way to understand how this world works, as far as you're either the individual selling something or you're being sold to. The thought process and mentality, Robert Kiyosaki has his Rich Dad Poor Dad book. Those are staples in any sort of development and growth and business long term. If I had to give one last piece of advice for anybody that is aspiring to open up a business, is scared money don't make money. Don't overthink things. Just full commit to what you're doing, and just have fun. I think the process we forget, because there's a lot of trials and tribulations that come with it. We forget to have fun, and that's part of the journey. And you'll look back in 4 or 5 years, man, I should have had more fun. And I'm insanely grateful for my family, my wife, my daughter, my 5-month-old baby that's cooking right now, and my team, my crew, my guys and gals. That's pretty much it.